Da da da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know I've gone live. And hi, if you've never met me before, you won't be noticing that I cut my bangs too short. Hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. It is in that little bit of prep. Tomorrow, I think tomorrow's going to be the big day where I'm actually going to get. Oh, let me turn my lighting on. I think tomorrow is going to be the very last day that I ever color my hair this blonde. I've been coloring my hair every 6 weeks since I was 16 years old. And I've been waiting for that gray hair to come in. And I'm ready to do something new and exciting with my hair. Not necessarily go into those granny short styles, right? But to go into something fresh, something not so 1980s, right? I don't want to be looked at that and yeah, and just look at me and say granny trash or something like that. So and it's not that I care that way, but I've been thinking about changes, and change is so important. And when you don't find change going on in one aspect of your life, like, it doesn't matter what aspect of your life, get some change going on. So I changed my clothes, I changed the color of my hair. I change quite often my taste and flavors in food. I picked up something new this week. They're called gnocchis. They're Italian. To me, they look like little, I don't know what they look like, but they're little round white things, and they're made of potatoes and flour. And when you say something like that, I think of pierogi dough, or I think of spaghetti, right? That, like a pasta. So I've never tried them before. They were on sale, and I said, Cindy, grab those. And I've been doing that quite a bit lately, even in my clothes and in the way that I dress, that I find that my closet is not appetizing to me. And it's all beautiful, beautiful clothes. Maybe I need the warm weather outside or something, but I just, right, disinterested in that. But that's that nudge, that's that little bit of, not push this way, but push this way to go forward. Like, it's time to move, Cindy, time for some change. And then I'm looking around going, what change? What do I do? Oh my goodness. And then I stumble over myself going 100 miles an hour in stuff that doesn't matter in the end. And then if I'm not going 100 miles an hour, I'm going 0 miles an hour. I just like, but at the same time, being at that point, I'm still, and I probably do that more when I am in that stage rather than in that busy. It's why I loved my job, that little thrift store, that job that put the roof over my head. It kept me busy, even in the hairy, scary. I loved that stuff. I thrived in that. I was great at that. I just didn't like that it was taken advantage of, unappreciated, and not only unappreciated, but just going beyond that to make it almost like, oh, I'm trying to describe that you brought less to the table than you brought more to the table. I'll just say it like that, right? So yeah, it really is quite interesting to see what my interests are these days. And uh It's change, but this is what it is. This is right now. We're in it. We're right in it, you guys. This is perfect. Forget about January 1st, New Year's resolutions. Now, you guys, now is the time to get cracking and get moving on those dreams, because, it is in that momentum, but there are lots of things that contribute positively to that momentum, right? The blue skies, not having to wear winter gear, um, there, right? Walks along the beach, everything comes alive again, and the flowers, and right, it's the whole essence that contributes, and it's like a fresh breath, right? It's like a new beginning. It is a new beginning. It's spring. It's always the way that I've looked at that, right? It's spring. It's a sense of renewal. And I think in a lot of religions, they look at that, like Easter, right? That they look at these changes in the seasons and how important they are, right? That's the seed spring, right? Where you plant the seeds and then you harvest in the hot fall. It's really funny because I was thinking about harvesting this afternoon. I can't remember what the topic was that I was thinking about harvesting, but I was thinking about harvesting. It was really kind of neat, but I'm not going to try and figure that out while I'm doing my live soap. So let me have a sip of my coffee, and we'll get into it. I'm not really into it, but maybe some perspectives that I'm butting heads with. And I'm butting heads with some of the people that I am taking lessons from, that I'm actually um, finding I resonate with a lot of the topics, that they have something to offer that is benefiting me personally, but also in the way that I show up here and what I want to bring to the table. I think it's quite pertinent to have a different perspective thrown out there. And he's one, right? I'm not butting heads with nobody, right? Majority rules and everything, right? That I'm doing here. But there are new ideas, science and medicine and mathematics and astrology, and it's so much coming together, and there's so much being revealed in that, and thanks to this digital age, it just kind of disperses out to the world, right? Like the instant that it's going on, it's live, people, right? So it's a lot to take in. But being able to do that, we're able to take a look, and you can see the differences in the way that we think, that way we believe, the way we were brought up to understand, and we take note of that because it's so different, right? That it's just a video, right? It's just somebody giving a perspective, giving a lesson. And when the other parts of their lesson is relying on this one lesson, that if it contradicts, right, I gotta feel that for myself, right? And yeah, I actually went into his credits here to see if he was lots of times it's the content, it's the mission, it's the ideas that are important, and not necessarily who's presenting it, right? Sometimes it's this way. And obviously, right, if he didn't have those personality traits that didn't get my system all twisted up, right? Then obviously I wouldn't be taking in the lessons from him. The lessons are the same, right? Whether I took it from him or took it from a rabbi or took it from somebody in Tibet, it would be the same lesson. it's just different in some ways. And I go in more of a individual basis, right? I am non-denominational, but not only am I non-denominational, I'm non-cultural too, right? I speak English, so obviously whoever I'm interacting with, and even in these days of technical, if I need to speak a different language, I can do that on my phone, right? It's just a matter of downloading an app, right? I gotta take note. I That's definitely something that I should put on my list to make sure that I get done because um you know I do love to interact with everybody. I'm not particular that way. And actually, if it was anything, it would be the opposite way because different cultures, different ideas, different culture lessons, right? That we can offer up to each other if we wanted to. Lots of times we bump into people and right, you just look at them like the stranger that they are and don't let them get any further than that or any closer than that. But lots of times I have met complete strangers and ended a conversation, right? Maybe not exchanging phone numbers and stuff because that's just not my thing. I can't remember the last time I talked on the phone, right? But then again, right? I would suspect that most of the stuff that I do is in the form of being online in the AI, right? Okay, so I've totally lost track of where I was going with that. Oh yes. So this gentleman, uh, he loves books. This guy, he loves books. He reads absolutely everything. And then he breaks it down and he presents, the works and his perspectives on them. Some things that I truly believe that everybody everybody gets wrong in this, and it really bothers me in the labeling. And because his forte is psychology, and surprisingly I went in there and what am I doing here? Why is he one of my favorites? Because I'm looking at his tags. Where did I see his tags? And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, how did this ever come across my path? Right? It's masculine theory, men's psychology, inner work, Jungian shadow, masculine psychology, male psychology. It's just like male, 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 male. And I'm just like, right? But these are the lessons that I'm taking because I suspect that I need to understand this too. But then I also think, being my father's daughter and he didn't have any sons, that there is that little bit of mix of what do you call that? Yin and yang. Yeah, so I suspect there's a pretty good balance there. But yeah, I couldn't figure out whether or not he was a licensed psychologist or therapist, but he is a very smart man. And when it comes to qualifications, I don't care about the qualifications. Qualifications is the way I connect with you, right? And I don't care what the culture is or anything. If you're a little cutie pie, that's just sprinkles. That's just gravy, right? And he happens to be, right? Yeah, like, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the lessons. But let's get to the lesson that I had the problem with. It's the nurture. Oh, no, no. Where's my computer? Where did my computer go? Okay, I hope I'm still there. Something funky just went on there. I don't know what it is. It seems to be okay. Okay, I thought I lost my live right in the middle of a thought. And you guys know how I get when I get sidetracked on that thought. But I'm just like holding on to the screen because right, I still have it. I still have another 20 minutes or 10 minutes or so to finish this, and I'll do it after my live show. But it kind of got to me, and I know that I delve into the things that drum up those emotions, but it's that nurture versus nature. And then when you put tags on this, and you go the father wound and the mother wound and the bipolar, the borderline personality, or the narcissist. There's a good one. Oh my goodness, those narcissists, they're getting such a beating right now. And the reason I'm saying that, it's because, you know, it's not nurture versus nature. It's nurture and nature. It's the combination of the two and how they mix. And when they mix like that, because you don't know what the nurture is, right? But if you see the tendencies in, say, a tag of narcissism in there, but in their nurturing, they had it. Like they had somebody who loved them, right? That all it takes is just having one person who loves you, right? I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I didn't have that one person in my life who cared. There were a few. Grateful for the people and the souls that come across my path, right? But my father loved me. So I had that. If I didn't have that, understanding narcissism, understanding my hypervigilance, and that self-control, which I am 100% entitled to, because, right, it's me. It's me and those other parts of me. And, they'll call that, well, the ego being overprotective, but it's not like that. And at least going forward, it's going to be less and less like that. I'm so certain, right? We are moving into the next stage of evolution. And, you can't use these labels because we are a Heinz 57 now, not just in the humans, but, right? I grew up in a household with the two extremes, the extremes of the extremes, an empath and, worse than a narcissist borderline. It was, right. And I can't even say it was the worstest because, again, it's in that nurturing that attaches itself to the nature that creates something that looks a certain way, but behaves a certain way, but is actually another way. Do you know what I mean? And then we try to put labels on it. And you know what? I am my father's daughter. But just as much as I'm my father's daughter, I'm my mother's daughter. And as much as my mother had good traits, she had some stinkers. I'm going to have to say the same with my dad. And the same with me. And I suspect the same with you, right? But that's the beauty of it, right? In recognizing that, isn't that a little bit of cooperation with ourselves in that recognition? I think so. I believe so. And so I really had a problem with the labeling of some things, Um, yes, unkind, right? It's my big, it's it's part of my mission, right? To make sure that that the human soul is able to make some movement without being held back from their lessons, being held back from even having an inkling that it was a possibility, right? That they get to have a fair chance, a fair shot, because in the end, none of this happens, right? Without us, right? Right? We fill each other's gaps. We were meant to fill each other's gap. No, well, we were meant, right? To recognize each other's gaps. And if we have that lesson, to teach them how to fill their own gaps. But because we are so codependent, right? We'd much rather somebody else fills those gaps for us so that we will always have a need. And that person filling that gap for you, right, might be a smarty pants and might recognize that if you don't know how to fill your own gaps, that they got one up on you, right? That they got one up in you. And guaranteed they're taking in your lessons in how to fill their gaps, right? And that control, that's the bad part of control. It is. And we're not out of that yet. But I do believe we have a shot if we can all better understand that we are on the same team, right? It's not a gazillion little teams. We're on the same team, but we should be looking at it more on a individual basis rather than right, a whole bunch of different ideas that get the one same label. It's frustrating because it's so clear in the world that right, it's all the ingredients that are put into the cake. You can't leave out the eggs, you can't leave out the baking soda, you can't leave out those ingredients because it will be different, right? If you just leave out the baking soda, well, it's going to be a flat, heavy cake. But maybe you can work with that, right? Put a little baking soda in it, and it's nice and fluffy, right? Then you forgot to put the butter in it. You can't even cut the cake without it all falling apart on you. See, it's the cake is still ruined, right? You can't eat the cake. You didn't get the cake recipe right. I was going to use that as an analogy. I thought, well, how does that work? Right? It doesn't work in my analogy. I was just saying, it changes things. It makes things different and not right. Makes things differently. So you can still give it a vanilla cake recipe, but it's gonna be different because you took out one ingredient. And if there are two cakes, and each cake had an ingredient taken out, but a different ingredient, right? That vanilla cake would be even more different in that, right? So I don't know if that's understood there. That was a bad analogy, but that's what came to my mind when I said that. So let's just see if it's really in my mind. Oh, I found a new spot for my cards, so I always look for them every night. Let's just pick a card, get into it for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take this notification off of my chat. And you guys, I hope you're having a good week. It is Friday, and tomorrow I won't be online. I may message somebody from my Instagram crew because I did go on Instagram this week that there was somebody that I really enjoyed talking to. So, and she did message me and asked if I would come on to Instagram quite a while ago. So maybe I'll go on Instagram tomorrow for a little while if you want. If you happen to see me in the feed, join me for sure, 100%. Other than that, I'll be back on Sunday night for Chatters Live. It's a great show and not a great show because I'm just spending an hour and a half and I'm just yapping away. It's just me yapping away. But I tell you, if you come into the chat and you meet my moderators, oh my goodness, they chat more than I do. They're absolutely amazing. And, I wouldn't be here. Again, you guys hear me say it all the time, but it's so true. So many different, let's not label it, right? So many different reasons. And I might not have been here, right? So many. It took a lot, but I'm here, and yeah, I'm showing, I'm showing up, and I was saying it is a process. I'm feeling my way around just like everybody else, and we all have handicaps. We all have blind blind spots. But you know what? As a conglomerate, and we throw all those gifts that each one of us have, the different gifts into the pot, like that cabbage soup, right? You never know what kind of amazing dish we can accomplish, how many gaps we can fill, how many labels we could eliminate, right? It is in that cooperation. It's in getting each other, and it's maybe it has to start with tolerance, right? I suspect in a lot of respects it will have to start with tolerance. But wouldn't it be great if we could move really quickly into kindness, into consideration, and into friendship and understanding, and then just see what kind of movement we can make, right? Okay, that's it. Even need a card today. Let's just pull a card here, and we're just gonna go 2 minutes, and then I'm calling it a day. Oh my goodness, I got two cards. Take the top card. Top card is progress. What did I write here? Progress is just putting one foot in front of another in what we are trying to accomplish. What we were talking about? Well, I was talking about a lot of things. I had a good chance of hitting it from all the things I was yapping about tonight. But we were talking about this, just putting one foot in front of the other and just to keep moving. And sometimes, it's really hard to move. Sometimes it's just mogwire. It's just, right? And we do it anyway. But if you're not going to accomplish anything, if you're not going to get out of that, right? Don't sink any further. Oh, that's quicksand, isn't it? Okay, then you're in quicksand, right? If you struggle in that, you're just going to go deeper into it. So the idea is to, I don't know, inhale lots of air, float on the top, keep your calm about you, kind of think in your head of the possibilities. Maybe there's a stick right there, and you're so stressed out and so zonked over the issue and the situation that you got in, you didn't even see it was sitting right there. So, just in that great advice in calming down, just stopping for a second so you can get your senses about you, and maybe you will notice that stick beside you. Oh my goodness, get back on track. Progress, Cindy, right? There is progress there. There's progress. I'm saying that in the midst of that little bit of movement, that having this time off, and you guys know how I am, that job that I had was to keep me grounded, to make sure that I didn't, you know, like a bouquet of helium balloons just float off to the in the air, right? And And so I am grounding myself in things, but the lessons are here. That wind behind me that's pushing me forward, looking outside and seeing it's spring and knowing in the lessons it's an opportunity to start something new, to re-energize and get out there. And I'm not necessarily saying get outside, but getting outside is great too. But I mean, get back into the world, right? To set some goals, to start moving towards them, not being preoccupied by the person who's standing next to you or the person you don't even see. But because you got nothing better to do, you meddle in something that is no concern, right? Or focus on headline news and stress yourself out, right? Or we compulse in our own compulsive habits that we get preoccupied in, you know, that makes being bored fun, right? Renewal, time for some change. Like what I said when I came in live tonight, it's spring, you guys. It's time for some change, right? It's not January 1st, New Year's resolution. It's spring. It's a new beginning. It's never too late. It's another round, right? Yeah, look at it like that. Round two. I'm only laughing because I know there are lots of souls out there that think it's around a million gillion, right? That, but it is, right? It's that's the idea, you know, in not putting labels on people's issues and not really seeing that there are traits and things to note that look on the positive side. Like, nobody, I'm not going to say nobody, but very few people ever had faith in me, ever thought that I would accomplish anything, or maybe thought I would accomplish anything, but in their own limiting beliefs and where they were at in life, they didn't want to see anybody move any further than them, right? And there is no judgment there, right? Call it good sportsmanship, right? Reframe it, right? Reframe it. Look at it in a different way. It's our evolution, and you know, we're stupid sometimes. Oh my goodness. I worked in bars for 15 years. I saw a lot of stupid stuff, like so idiotic. And I participated in a lot of that stupid stuff, right? But I'm not that person anymore. And maybe I am in a lot of ways. But it's just an indicator to me that maybe I wasn't so bad after all. That maybe I wasn't the person that I thought I was. That I made myself think that way, or others made me think that way. That, it's kind of awesome that I picked up lessons along the way, even though I didn't wake up to these ideas until well into my 50s. You guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Progress. There is progress. Progress in the world. You look at the world, you go, oh, look at the world. It's going apart. It's just falling apart. It's the worst times ever. Oh my goodness, you guys. Go back 100 years. Go back 100 years. You can keep your nice house. Go back 100 years. Spend a year in that. And then come back and tell me that this is the worst times ever. Right? It's we're spoiled. How are we going to ever build any resilience, right? In wanting the couch and the remote control and getting the couch and the remote control. It's in our choices, right? That's where the progress lays. Oh, that's a good place to end it. Okay, you guys, have a great night. See you on Monday if I don't see you on Sunday. Bye. Oh my goodness.